What's up, guys? We're going to be doing a tutorial on Weaponmod.
This is a lot of fun for this mod, and it helps out a lot.
Yeah, it's really great for killing creepers or even going to the Nether.
Yep. So you can make most of these recipes with wood, iron, diamonds, whatever you feel.
Yeah, so they work with the same recipes, or at least most of them do, with the regular resources that you use with tools.
And most of the melee weapons have a knockback on them.
So this is an iron spear. It's the first thing we're going to be making. We're just showing you here that you can make it out of wood or iron or whatever you'd like.
You can use this to either stab a friend or just like throw it at them, or you can use it against a mob or whatever.
If you throw it against a wall, you'll be able to pick it up. And if you throw it against your friend or whoever, you'll be able to also pick it up.
Yeah, so it doesn't disappear like arrows.
And it doesn't have a charge time when you throw it.
Yeah, so it is pretty useful, and it hits quite a bit for a longer range weapon.
Right, so the next thing we're going to be making is a halberd.
So yeah, this one has two attack styles, a stab style and a slash style.
Right, so the difference between the two is that one has more of a knockback than the other, but one also does more damage.
So yeah, the one with the longer knockback does less damage. And to switch between the styles, just right click with it.
So here's the recipe right here. It's kind of like an axe with one of the sticks so that it's on an angle.
Yeah.
And again, with all of these, you can make them out of the basic resources that you normally make your tools out of. So to change styles, you just right click, and you can see here that it's moving forward and backward to show that I'm either in slashing or stabbing.
Yeah. Most of these weapons can be charged on using the Talisman of Repair from Equivalent Exchange.
Right, so the next thing we're going to be making is a knife.
Yep. So this one does less damage than a sword, but you can throw it.
Right, it's got a really cool sort of throwing animation, and it's really, really cheap to make. We don't suggest making, diamond knives or anything like that.
But yeah, you can throw it or either just stab with it.
I think we had a glitch earlier where once in a while when we threw it, it would disappear. So just, be careful with that.
Yeah, so this is an iron battle axe. It also has a knockback on it, and it does quite a bit of damage. You can also parry with it.
Yeah, so the knockback on this one is gigantic. I think it might be the biggest of all of the ones that we're covering. But it does require quite a bit of resources, especially if you're making it out of diamond.
Yeah, and this one is an iron warhammer.
A warhammer it does as much damage and the same knockback as the halberd, but does huge damage to blocks depending on the weapon material.
So yeah, like if you're hitting a stone block or whatever, you can destroy it pretty quickly.
Right, so this one also has kind of a cool special ability where if you hold the right click, you can smash the ground, or a friend, but if you smash the ground, anyone in a general area except you will be damaged.
Yeah, so you have to be aiming at the ground. If you aim at the air, it won't work. And next up is the flail.
So the flail requires a bit of string, but it's definitely worth it. The flail works by right-clicking, and you can sort of fire out the ball that's on the chain.
Yeah, it is a bit hard to understand, but once you get it going, it's useful and it does a lot of damage.
So how it works is every time you right-click once it's already out, your ball will be launched forward in the direction you're facing. And it'll also be dragged around with you, but it won't do any damage. It's just for looks when it's dragged around.
Yeah. So next is Javelin. So Javelins, you do lose if you hit a mob or a person.
But if you hit a wall, you can get it back. It's sort of like arrows.
Yeah. These ones go less farther than arrows, so they won't go as far. And they do have a bigger deviation.
They also have a charge time as well. So, depending on how much you charge them, you can throw them differently. As you can see here, I threw it at the wall and I can get it back. I definitely don't suggest making these out of any sort of expensive material because they're just not that good and they're wasted most of the time when you hit someone.
Yeah, and you don't need a bow for it either, so that's good, I guess. So next up is Dynamite.
So Dynamite's a really, really fun one and can be really useful for mining as well.
It can harm you, so watch out for that.
To use the dynamite, you just right-click to set the fuse, and then you right-click again to throw it.
The longer you wait between right clicks, the longer it'll take before it blows up. So if you wait a bit, it'll take longer and you can get away from it.
So what we're going to do is we're going to go outside and just test this TNT stick a little bit.
It blows up half as much as a TNT.
So this isn't actually the best thing for killing creepers, we found out. Lots of waste to your little area here.
Yeah.
And actually mobs in general, it's not that good at killing. It'd probably be useful in more PvP or mining. Because the mobs sort of rush towards you, you have to run away and then they run over it and all you're left with is a hole and another spider or something.
Yeah. As you can see here, you can throw a load of this at one time.
And even killing a pig here, it's not that useful.
Yeah.
Right, so the next one is a little more complex, getting into the multiple part items here. The first thing we need to make for a musket, which is what this is going to be, is a stock.
Yeah. So this one requires 2 items, but you can upgrade it with a knife.
Right, so the second part is the barrel.
And it requires a flint and steel and 3 steel bars.
So here's the recipe for the musket barrel, and to attach the two together, you just put the barrel next to the stock, or sorry, on top of it.
You can add a knife to make it a bayonet, and you can stab with it as well if you're in short range.
So to do that, you're going to require a new knife, because it can't have any metadata on it.
And this one, it has a long reload time, but it can usually kill stuff in one shot.
Yeah, and if you add a knife to it, it's actually quite an all-around useful weapon. It does, I think, 2 hearts or something with its knife, so it's not that great, but it's certainly better than punching.
Yeah, and you need rounds for this, and we'll show you that right now.
This isn't the most accurate gun, and it takes a second to load, but if you shoot and you hit a creeper, it'll auto-kill it.
Yeah, if you're at medium range, it's great for killing creepers or endermen, because it'll kill them in one shot.
And the good thing is you can hold your shot until they get a bit closer, and then you can let it loose.
You can also zoom in by pressing the default key, Control, and that will zoom in to the screen.
Right, so here's the recipe for the rounds.
It makes 8 per recipe.
To load the musket, you just pull it out and you hold right-click until it makes a clicking sound. It takes a second to get it, but once you get used to it, it's a little less glitchy and it works quite well once you know it.
Yeah. So after it's done reloading, you can just right-click and it'll start loading the fire.
Right. So sometimes it's glitchy. You can't really tell that I shot already, but it did quite a bit of hearts, and a few shots will kill.
So yeah, once you see that it's stretching back, it means that it's going to fire when you release it.
Right, so again, it does have a charge time, so generally we charge it all the way. I've never tried it without doing that.
And this does a load of damage, but if you're at a long distance, it'll lose the aim.
Right, so it's not very accurate.
Right, so next we're going to be making a crossbow.
So a crossbow requires a brand new bow, as well as 4 iron and 2 wooden planks.
The crossbow will shoot farther than a bow and arrow, also do more damage, and it's more accurate.
It doesn't use regular arrows though. You're going to need to make crossbow bolts with it.
But it's definitely great for killing ghast or something that's usually really far away.
Unfortunately, you do have to load it as well, so that is a downside to it.
So that is the recipe for the crossbow, and we'll show you the recipe for the bolts in a sec.
So if you guys are really into PvP, something you're really going to have to be working on is how you work together with people. Because you're going to have to load so many of these ranged weapons, you're going to need someone to help you out to sort of cover you while you reload. So it's not completely overpowered, but we found that this is sort of ruins killing mobs and stuff.
Yeah, it makes it a bit easy.
So I think what we're going to do is turn the difficulty to hard.
So as you can see, it will load and then it will shoot.
Same way as the musket. So really quickly, I'm going to go outside and you're just going to see how far it goes. Well, I guess you didn't see much, but it went certainly over the tree line over there.
Right, so next is a blowgun and poison darts.
So blowguns work by just the same way to fire as anything else that we've been using. You have to load it and then you have to fire it.
Not the most useful weapon, but it can be useful, especially in like assaulting by surprise or something.
Right, when you're just starting the fight, you're going to want to fire a blowgun because it poisons.
Yeah. The dart itself doesn't do much damage. With my armor, it only hit half a heart, but the damage, the poison hits around 2 hearts.
Not 2 hearts each time, but 2 hearts
Overall,
by the end.
yeah.
So the next thing we're making is a blunderbuss. A blunderbuss works kind of like a musket, but it's more like a shotgun.
Yeah, so it will cover a bigger area, and therefore it's more accurate because you have a bigger area to hit.
So it's created the same way. You use the same stock, but you use a different barrel that we just showed.
And you cannot attach a knife to this one, so it's only long range.
So we saw that this would be quite useful for in the Nether if you're firing at ghasts, because they're quite hard to hit most of the time.
Yeah, so it'll go pretty far and it has like a wide range to hit it.
So this again has its own type of round, and it requires some different things that we're going to show you now. You're going to need some gravel and some paper.
You also need some gunpowder.
A lot of these things require gunpowder, so maybe making a mob spawner trap would be a really good way to start getting the ammo you need.
Also, if you've tried out a current exchange, you can just create gunpowder from other fuels like coal.
So each time you make one, the same works for the blunderbuss, you make 8. And as you can see here, I shot to the side, and it actually still hit you.
Yeah. So just reload and then shoot. So this one here is a fire rod.
Not the most useful item as well, but if you right click, or I guess if you hit someone with it, with a left click, it'll just set them on fire for a few seconds. So it's a lot like the poison, but more of a close range.
Yeah, and it doesn't last very long, so not extremely useful. But if you kill a pig with it, it'll drop cooked pork chop. And now we're going to be making the big one.
So this is the cannon. To make that, you're going to need to make cannonballs out of smooth stone, like we just showed here.
You're also going to need gunpowder to fire it.
You're also going to need another flint and steel. Right, so this is the recipe, and it does require 1 wood block, not wood planks, but a wood block.
Yeah. And the cannon is a bit glitchy, but it does a lot of damage.
So the way the cannon works, we're actually going to show you guys a little maybe upstairs. And the way it works is you right click to get on. And if you have a cannonball in your hand, you can right click the barrel of the cannon to load it.
If you don't have a cannonball in your hand and you right click, you'll get off the cannon.
So it isn't really that great of idea that they have the same way to load as to get off. So it's a bit glitchy and you fall off a lot. But once you get it figured out and you get it working, it's really, really useful. So we're going to test on this house over here.
Yep. You just place it down and you can right click to get on.
So another thing you're going to need is gunpowder to fire it.
Yeah, if you don't have gunpowder in your inventory, you will not load a cannon, you'll just get off it.
So if you right click the barrel here, it makes a clicking sound. And then to fire it, you're going to need to press spacebar, or your selected jump key.
Yeah, which the default one is spacebar. So this goes over quite a distance.
So as you can see here, I'm having problems loading it, and I keep falling off. But maybe there's a trick to it. So there goes the cannonball there. It made quite a big hit, but we're gonna try and aim a bit higher this time.
Yep. You can also hit mobs with it, or even other players.
Which you'll see in a sec.
Yep. The cannonball didn't explode with me. It basically went through me and exploded behind me.
So here you can see it. It fires basically a shot like TNT into the wall of that building over there.
And this does a lot of damage. When it hit me there, it left me with like 2 hearts left.
And he's wearing full iron armor as well.
Yeah.
Well, but rubber boots.
So definitely destructive.
So when you destroy the cannon, something to note is that when you destroy it with a pick, it actually disappears.
But it gives you all the resources back.
Right. So one of the last things we're going to make here is a training dummy.
Yeah, we didn't find much uses for it. Maybe you guys can find a cool use for it.
It might be more of a looks thing.
Yeah.
It says it'll never break from projectile or melee damage, but it does when it's set on fire, or blown up, or if it falls from too high. And if you right-click it, you can take it away.
Yeah, we had a hard time trying to destroy it, but apparently just right-clicking it will destroy it.
So if you're not, as long as you're not holding a weapon, if you right-click it, you can pick it up.
Yep. So who knows? Maybe you can make an army of training dummies. Right,
So as you can see here, I just shot a musket, and it actually auto-killed a creeper.
Yep. So now we're going to have a little battle between us.
So we're going to use our different guns here. It's looking good for me. We'll see.
Well, I don't have anything on me except the Warhammer.
So here we go. Here's our fight. I've poisoned him, and now I'm using my halberd, and I've thrown a few things. Now he's on fire, and the musket for the win. So comment, rate, subscribe. We'll see you guys soon.
Yep, see ya.